Hey folks, Digger Does here. Welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while since I've been on here, and a lot of you have been concerned about where I've been, and I want you to know where I'm really appreciative of your concerns, but I'm fine. Nothing's wrong. All I did is I took a little trip out of town to get away from the hustle and bustle of this season. I used to be a big fan of Christmas, but after the last couple of years, I've not really been in the mood to celebrate, mainly because one, I lost my father a couple of years ago. That took the wind out of my sails a little bit. And then the break-in of 2015 happened. And I can't go into much about that anymore because the people who I know did it will whine and cry and have me booted off YouTube if I mention it anymore. So if you want to know any more about that, you'll have to contact me via Facebook or on the messenger here, and I can fill you in on the details, but I can't talk about it anymore. But this period of the year, I don't really care for because I'm reminded of how things used to be. And it makes me very sad because I don't have a whole lot of family around me anymore. And so it's just not the same. Me and my mother have decided this year will be the last year that we put up a tree. She feels the same way as I do. It's just not the same anymore without hardly any family around. And so we both decided that after this year there will be no more Christmas. And, you know, am I sad about it? Yes, I'm very sad about it because I used to love this season. And while we were gone, I tried to get into it. We visited Branson, Missouri, and went to Silver Dollar City, looked at the lights around there, even went to a couple plays, and the plays were really good. In fact, if you go to Silver Dollar City, I recommend to take a few hours to just walk around the place at night with all the lights on. It's absolutely beautiful. And also check out a Dickens Christmas Carol that's held in the Opera House. One of the best plays I've ever seen. I'm not lying. They put on a great version of it there at Silver Dollar City, and it's definitely worth the check out. We also went to see a couple of shows. The one that we liked the most was Six. Six puts on a great show. The only thing I was a little disappointed in was the fact that they only did half of a Christmas show. They did the regular show, and then the second half was Christmas. So it was all right. We saw the Letterman. I didn't grow up with the Letterman. My mother did. She was very familiar with them, and even though I knew a couple of the songs, some of them I didn't even recognize, we did that for her. She really enjoyed it. And then the second show we saw, along with the Letterman, was the Christmas extravaganza there at the Andy Williams Center. The Letterman performed there as well. And I tell you, the Christmas extravaganza was awesome because it features members of the Lennon Sisters and the Osmond Brothers. Now, for me, being a young old head, I remember the Osmonds. I remember watching Donnie and Marie on the Donnie and Marie show back in the late 70s. And I kind of remember the Osmond Brothers performing back in the day as well. So a lot of the songs they did I remembered. So it was a good show for me because it was like stepping back in time. My mother, she grew up listening to the Lennon Sisters, so it was a good mix for the both of us, and we really enjoyed that show. Definitely one you want to check out. The Letterman, the only thing you might want to know about is that they will only be there till December 10th. So if you want to see them, you better hurry, because their time is limited there. They're going to go back on the road very soon, so, keep that in mind. Then we went to Memphis, Tennessee, and I'm going to say a few things about Memphis that may tick some people off, but it's not a bad thing. It's just Memphis is hard to get around. We got lost numerous times. We had trouble finding the street signs, and even with GPS, the GPS would get confused on where we needed to go, because there was one time we went in the same circle 3 times, and we were using a GPS. So when you go to Memphis, make sure you got your directions down on where you're going, because, man, let me tell you, downtown is confusing as heck, because a lot of the roads are one way only, and so if you get stuck, you're going to be going in circles over and over again. I will say I had a good time in Memphis. We went to the Sun Studio, and that is where Elvis, Johnny Cash, Jerry Lee Lewis, Carl Perkins all recorded some of their most famous hits. And it was an awesome experience. The only downside to it was we thought that, according to their website, that the tour was going to be at least an hour and a half long. Turned out to be only 30 minutes long. But there was enough in that 30-minute tour that it really made the trip worth it, because they played stuff that I'd never heard before, didn't even know it existed, and it was kind of cool to see where Elvis may have drones or taken some inspiration from in some of his music, so that was pretty cool. Even got to stand in front of a mic that Elvis supposedly used to record on, and that was really cool too. Sun Studios is still used as a venue to record at, so we couldn't touch any of the instruments, but it's one of the few rooms that look like it did back in the day. The Secretary's office, the studio, is pretty much like it was back then. Other than that, there's been a lot of changes to the building, because Sam Phillips only had that as a recording studio for 10 years. After that, it was a series of stores and offices and whatnot, so a lot had been changed. The only thing that was original to that building was that one microphone. That was it. Everything else had been donated or given to them to put the museum to like it is now. And it was really cool that when we went in there, whenever it's down, the people in the store are dancing to music and having a good time, and that was cool. I mean, it was like something I would do at home, just turn the radio on and get the boogieing down. It was really cool. Me, I have 2 left feet. I am not a good dancer, so I had more fun watching my mom and the people there dancing, carrying on, because I wasn't about to embarrass myself. 2 things I don't do well: dancing, singing. Terrible singer and a terrible dancer. Unfortunately, I come from a musical family, and I didn't inherit any of that. I think I'm the only member of my family that does not do well at those things. And both sides of my family are musical. My dad was a musician. All of my aunts and uncles on my mom's side either sang or played an instrument. So music was always in the family. Even my grandma's brothers and sisters all sang or played an instrument. So, it's always been around me. And I love music. Don't get me wrong. Even though I can't dance or sing, I can play a little guitar, just a little bit. And I can play the violin, just a little bit. And I have a good ear for music. I mean, when I hear a song, it instantly connects with me in some way. The only thing I don't like, there's two genres of music I'm not a big fan of: modern day rap and black metal. When you start screaming, you can't understand the words, and so, you know, not my thing. Well, anyway, let me get back on to where I've been. After we left Memphis, we went back to Branson. My mom had a migraine, and we were actually going to head home as we started heading back through Arkansas. She started feeling a little bit better, so she wanted to continue on to Branson. So we went back to Branson, spent a few more days there, went to a Trail of Lights. Do not, I repeat, do not go to the Trail of Lights there at the Shepherd of the Hills of Branson, Missouri. All the displays and lights are on one side. They're on the driver's side. So if you're on the passenger side, you're not going to get to really see anything unless you lean over onto the driver or the passenger sitting behind the driver's seat. You're going to have to lean over to watch. So it wasn't really that great. They had music playing. You couldn't really hear it with the windows up. You have to roll the windows down, and it was very cold that day that we went. And so we were looking forward to having the hot chocolate at Inspiration Tower like their website said would be provided. Wasn't there. We didn't get any hot chocolate or hot cider. So, you know, after the little going to the top of the tower and looking at all the lights, we quickly made it back to the car to warm up because it was very cold. Riding around that 3 miles looking at lights there at Trail of Lights, and really didn't have a good time. For $12 for adults, it just, to me, wasn't really a good venue to visit, and I don't think I'll ever do it again. We also did the Gift of Lights there in Branson, Missouri, and that was kind of disappointing. They had beautiful lights, but there was no music, no displays. It just for $20, they did have display or lights on both sides, and that was good, but really was too short for me. I mean, it was just not really worth the money we paid for it. And I want to say one more thing about Silver Dollar City. If you're going to eat there, do not eat at the Mine restaurant. The day we went there, it was awful. Food was cold. All the sides were cold. The turkey was dry as a bone. Even though it was sitting in a sauce, they cooked it too long, so it was dry. The pulled pork was okay, but it was a little on the dry side as well. The service was not very good. I guess they were short-handed. We had to seat ourselves, even though it said wait to be seated. No one ever came. So we ended up seating ourselves. We waited and waited for our drinks and rolls. Those never came. My mother ended up getting up to go get them, and just as she got over there to grab some, the waitress told her to go sit back down and she'd bring it. So that just tells you what it was like. Other than that, Silver Dollar City's awesome. I mean, the lights, the venues, all that was awesome. The place. In fact, if you're going to eat there, look for the vendors out through the park. Don't go to the restaurants. Go to the vendors because the food is hot and fresh. Really good stuff. Anything you get at the vendors is good. I've never had a bad thing with the vendors. Well, then I think we decided, we got up Sunday morning. We were there for we haven't been off the road for 2 weeks, or on the road for 2 weeks. So we decided to head back home last Sunday. So as far as getting back on track with videos and stuff. That will be coming up, I assure you. I took yesterday off just to recoup from the trip, because that was a lot of miles we put on the road. So, you know, it was a worthwhile trip. Had a lot of fun. Wish it hadn't ended. But now it's just getting back into the swing of things. But for those of you out there who follow my martial arts videos, they'll be back up soon. Oh, and by the way, big if here, I'm not out of ideas, but I'm wondering, those of you that follow my videos, there's something you really want to see. Let me know down in the comments, and I'll see if I can do a video on those things, because I have gotten requests in the past, and I want you all to enjoy this experience as much as I do. So give me a holler, let me know. For those of you that followed my game pickups, movie reviews, or whatever, just holler at me down in the comments. Let me know what you want to see, or is there any collabs you might want to see me do with somebody, but whatever. Just leave me a comment down there. Love to hear from you all. Please come subscribe to my channel. The more the merrier, as I always say. Would love to have you all here with me. And as always, folks, be good to each other. Do good, and deuces. Bye, y'all.